Hey, what's going on, parents? Welcome back to the Parent Podcast here, Teenager Tuesday. It's awesome. If we haven't met, my name is Will, and I am with the one and only Angela Linz.
Hello.
She is answering all of the questions that you sent in. Well, we only got to 2 last week.
That's right.
But we're going to try to hit a few more today, and it's okay if we take a longer time because I think some of these questions are so good. One thing that you said last week was, when talking about social media, was that there's a season to protect and a season to prepare. And I think that goes so well with a question that came in that I would love for you to talk about, which was, someone said, how can I balance giving my teen privacy and protecting them?
Wow. That's a hard one.
That's a tough question.
That's a very tough question.
Especially to answer in a couple minutes.
Yeah, for sure. I'll try to go quickly.
Yeah.
Like we said last week, I have 2 16-year-old boys and a 17-year-old girl. And so my first job as a mom, I believe, and as parents, is to protect our kids. It's the very first job I think we have. I think that, and I do want to say this real quick, Will, that what we do may not work for other people.
Yeah,
like what my husband and I choose to do in our family, it may not work for you, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong. I think we're all fully equipped to parent the kids that we have. So we are just sharing kind of our experience. Privacy, my kids have known from a very young age that mom and dad are going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had conversations.
What kind of privacy are you talking
Okay,
about?
let's talk about phone privacy.
Yeah.
When my kids got phones, when my kids got phones, we set up contracts right at the very beginning. We laid out what time they were going to turn their phones in. Obviously, those times have shifted a little over the years as they've gotten a little older.
Sure, yeah.
But we laid out our expectations. This phone is our phone. We're paying for it. You get to use it.
Yeah.
And that mom and dad have the right to look at your phone at any point. Now, throughout the years, they have built trust with us. And while we have some apps and things on their phone to really notify us when there are things on there, for the most part, especially my oldest daughter, who's a senior, I don't really have to look at her phone. I have tapered that off as they've gotten older. 7th grade boys, look at their phone all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, every night.
I like how you're saying, like, you set the expectation of it.
Yes.
Because then it's not like a sneaky thing.
No.
You know, you're not keeping a secret from them.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, I'm doing it. Because then it feels more, I guess, violating more than
I think it would break
annoying.
trust with my kids. If I looked at something of my kids without telling them ahead of time, I do feel like that would break trust.
Yeah.
Now, do I have a right as a parent to go in and check anything? Sure.
Yeah, it's
but
your phone.
I want to build a relationship with my kid. And that comes first to me.
Yeah.
So my kids did know from the very beginning when there were private conversations they were having about something their friend was going through. A lot of times they would come tell me, hey, Mom, so-and-so is going through this. I really don't want you to read this phone because you and his mom are friends. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so over the years, that privacy has gotten bigger and bigger because, again, my job has gone from protecting them to now preparing them. Yeah. So now, every now and then I'll get a notification we have Bark on our kids' phones. We have a bunch of Life 360, all that stuff. So I'll get a notification of something on my kid's phone. And my first thing is when I get a notification, I ask them about it. I don't just go get the phone. Now they're 16 and 18.
Yeah.
I ask them about it. Hey, can you tell me about this? The app showed me that this came up on your phone. And we talk about it. We talk about what was right or wrong about it. Why it's important not to, maybe if it's something that is encouraging, bad behavior or something. I don't know, whatever.
But something that goes
against a family value. We talk about those things. We talk about how could we have done that differently in the future, and how could you respond differently to your friend or things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more about coaching them now and how to respond and to handle those situations than it is about constantly looking at their phone.
Right.
Because to be honest, if you're going to look at their phone at every single thing, you're going to be mad all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
They just do.
They're putting all the thoughts.
They put all their thoughts on it, and they do dumb things when they're really. I mean, they're 13, 14, 16, whatever. Yeah. They just don't make great choices.
Yeah.
So.
And I love how you say that too, because like when we think protecting, I think oftentimes people think of like preventing or like sheltering, like let me like not expose them to the real aspects of world. But like you're talking about, as they're getting older, that preparing them is probably will protect them, because as you have prepared them along the way, hopefully they've latched onto those lessons. And then when a situation comes up, they'll make the decision that you've helped prepare them for.
That's our hope and our prayer. And again, once we sometimes we figure things out with them and we're like, oh, we're doing great. And then all of a sudden they throw something new at us. And we're like, oh, we have to start back at the beginning, figure out something else.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's good. Well, I want to make sure that we get to this question and that we do take some time on it. So this might be the last question. We'll see. One question that came in was, how can I teach my kid or student about using money in a God-honoring way?
That's good.
I really like that question.
I do too. I would say, well, first things first, you can't teach your kid to do something if you are not doing it yourself. Yeah. And I think that goes across the board with social parenting thing. Social media, how we as parents use our phones. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to sit and scroll constantly, they're going to sit and scroll. Yeah. If we react in a certain way, they're going to react in a certain way. They are constantly, we would like them to do as we say and not as we do, but they don't always do that. No. So they're going to copy what we do. Yeah. So what we do, I think even in moderation, they will do in excess. So it's really important to teach them to have great habits when it comes to something as important as using money in a God-honoring way. So I think the first thing is you have to be doing it. You have to be giving yourself if you want your kids to do that. Yeah. You have to be living a generous lifestyle and look for ways to bless other people. I think you have to talk about ways that God's provided for you. Years ago, we went through a season in life that was really difficult financially, where my husband lost his job, and we went through a lot of financial loss. And over the last decade, we've been so blessed by God, but we've talked a lot specifically with our kids about these are the ways God provided for us. We have that conversation with them. Yeah. This is what God provided for us, and this is what God provided for us. Because again, I think we have to talk to them and explain those things to them, or they don't really understand like this place where we got to live, or this house, or this job. To them, it's just a job. But for us to put a definition on it of this is a blessing from God. This is provision. This is what provision looks like, is a job to be able to earn money to then pay for things. Yeah, that's how we do it.
So it's not our money.
No, exactly. It's God's money. Exactly. So you have to talk about it. And I also think it's really important to help your teen look for ways to bless others. Yeah. You will be shocked at how much they love doing this. Yeah. We started when they were really young, doing these Christmas Advent things. So like, I wish we did it all year round. We really should if we were really good parents. But at Christmas time, we would go do things like we'd go back to the NICU where my twins spent weeks when they were born, and we would tape dollar bills to all of the vending machines. Yeah. Oh, they were so excited. Every Christmas, we'd go tape dollar bills or like gift cards on all of the Sonic drive-in bays. And then that kind of grew to doing, things like Operation Christmas Child and boxes like that. Well, a few years ago, once our kids were kind of in the age of earning their own money, babysitting and doing odd jobs and allowance and things like that, we challenged them at Christmas that instead of buying random gifts for each other, which it would be, like junk, more crap in their room.
Yeah, from Dollar Tree.
Exactly. We challenged them to take money of their own that they earned and to find someone to bless it with. And we were not going to tell them how much to spend. We were not going to tell them who to give it to, but we wanted them to pray about it and to see who God laid on their hearts. Yeah. And we were totally shocked and pleasantly surprised, just so happy that they actually didn't just participate in this, they were excited about this. Wow. And they gave more than we expected that our kids would give. They were so intentional with who they chose. One chose one of our police officers on Wednesday night. One of my other kids chose a family who fosters, just to bless them with a date night, a gift card for dinner and a movie. And so one of the other ones chose, I think, one of their custodians at school whose family had just had a house fire. Oh, wow. And they were so excited to give these gifts to them. And I think it was probably one of the first times that I mean, they enjoyed it as kids, but like as little adults, that they really had that feeling of like, this is what it feels like to give to somebody else. This is the joy that you get when you give to other people. And I think when you challenge them and encourage them, help them make a plan to do those things, they will get so much joy out of it. And I think when you have milestones like that and experiences like that, it builds into the next thing, which I would say is help them build healthy habits. When they are earning money consistently, a lot of times my kids' money would come in and out on like on just their debit card, their green light or their bank card or whatever. And they'd be like, how do I tithe with this? What do I do with this? Like, I can't get cash out. Nobody ever has cash anymore. So we had to sit down with them and help them figure out, okay, this is how you log on. This is how you do online giving. This is how you can do text to give. When are you going to do this? Like, make a plan, put it in your calendar. They don't naturally think to do that. But if we take the time to help them make a plan, they really will be intentional with it, and they just build healthy habits that will then continue, hopefully, into college and adult years.
Because one day all those decisions will be
are on them.
Yeah.
And I don't get to choose it anymore. So that's just what we've tried to do. We haven't always gotten it right. We've messed up more times than we'd care to count. But again, like I said, you turn around and you try something else. You try something else and you keep trying to find ways to connect, to find ways to point them to Jesus, to try to find ways to help prepare them for what's coming up. Because all too soon they're going to be moved out, and I want to make sure they have they're fully equipped. For real life as an adult.
And I mean, that generosity piece is so huge. Little, big, doesn't matter. I want them
to be kids who grow into adults who are generous.
I love that. I love that. Angela, we are out of time. We're overtime.
We're overtime. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
On the Parent Podcast. Thank you. You want to sign us off this week?
I'd love to.
Thank you.
I'd love to. I know. I got it. He thinks I'm so old.
I put it in big font for her.
He did. I appreciate it because I didn't bring my readers this week. So parents, just to remember, you can do this. You're not alone. God is with you, and so are we. Have a great week.